However We Can Make It by THYME, the opening song for To Love Ru. It's an anime, very fun anime. I first heard that song when I was watching the anime lah. When this opening came on, I was grooving, man. It's this very energetic and very punkish kind of vibe about the song, which kind of reflects in the anime itself. It's like really wacky kind of situations the main character gets himself into. And of course, anime songs, they only play the first 1 minute and 30 seconds. I had to look up the full song to give it a listen, since I liked it a lot. And like there was this one bass lick in the last chorus which caught my attention because of its strange rhythm. I don't want to call it a polyrhythm because it's not something that's constant. It's not something that establishes itself as a separate rhythm on its own. And it's more of playing with rhythmic groupings, which I will explain later on. Which is now. Maybe earlier on in the video it was a bit hard to hear the bass line because it was being covered up by all the other instruments, and the vocals, of course lead vocals, very loud. So I made this replica of the song just for you to listen to the bass. I made the bass also a bit louder. Also in the notation I changed the semi-quaver beams to make it easier to follow. I'm also leaving the 2 bars lead in so it's easier to follow. What's so different about this lick is that it doesn't strictly follow the 4/4 grouping like the rest of the instruments are following. Clearly you can see that there are 2 different melodies playing. First one is a group of 5 semiquavers and it goes like this. And it repeats another 3 times. And then the second one is a group of 3 semiquavers which goes like this. And we know that this passage ends in 2 bars, which is a total of 32 semiquavers because each bar has 16. In the whole passage, the first melody plays 3 times, which is a total of 5 times 3 semiquavers, which gives us 15. Then afterwards, the second melody plays 4 times, which is a total of 3 times 4 semiquavers, which is 12. And of course, 15 and 12 doesn't fit into 32 semiquavers. So there's a leftover of 32 minus 15 minus 12, which is 5 semiquavers. I didn't want to include these 5 semiquavers as a part of the 5 grouping because it kind of acts as a cadence or follow up into the next bar rather than a rhythmic device. It's worth noting that up to this point we aren't even looking at this lick as something symmetrical. It's not like a conventional 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. It's not easy to clap to. Something interesting I found out is that there are 4 sets of 5 and 4 sets of 3. And adding 3 and 5 you get 8. So effectively there's 4 sets of 8, which is divisible by 32, and this makes it symmetrical if you put the 3 and 5 side by side. So based on this, I thought it would be fun to rearrange these groupings just to hear how it sounds like. As mentioned earlier, I'm putting each 3 and 5 side by side to make it sound symmetrical. For each of the examples, the last set of the 5 semiquavers, I'm going to use the leftover version to give it some variety. For the first one, I'm going to have the 3 first and then the 5. Now we have the 5 first and then the 3. What do you think of these? I don't know, that was in the script. Okay, fine, whatever. I felt like the previous 2 experiments sounded a bit off, and I thought it was because of the harmony, so I went ahead to look at that. In the original version, the first melody predominantly plays in the first bar and the second melody predominantly plays in the second bar. It also happens that these 2 bars have different chords, being E flat and B flat respectively. Yeah, of course they have passing chords in between, but I found those to be omittable for the sake of this analysis. What we are looking out for are the scale degrees with strong relation to the chords, namely 1, 5, 3 and 7 in order of importance. Looking at the first melody, it has the notes E flat, D, B flat and C, and then another B flat, which correspond to the scale degrees 1, 7, 5 and 6 in the chord of E flat major. In the second melody, it has the notes A, B flat and F, which correspond to scale degrees 7, 1 and 5 in the chord of B flat. As you can see, both melodies have scale degrees 1 and 5, which are strong enough to outline the chord. However, if the chords were to be swapped around, we can see that the melodies are much weaker than their initial chord, with the lack of scale degrees 1 and 5, as you can see in the diagram. I think it's over here. If not, it's over here. Either one. Why do I swap the chords around? Cause like in the experimental rhythms, we had both melodies playing on both chords. Personally, I buy into this explanation because it explains why the experimental rhythms don't sound as rooted as the original, despite it being more symmetrical. Of course, I don't think the bassist or the composer had all this in mind when they were writing this lick. It's probably just a byproduct of them jamming and the bassist just adding what he thought was flavorful. Of course, here I'm just assuming what stereotypically goes on in the songwriting and jamming process and imposing it onto this situation. My point is that although all this seems intellectual and may take up a lot of brain power understanding it, bottom line, it may very well be something someone came up with just cause they felt like it, and you don't need to understand something to enjoy it. That being said, I don't think it's wrong to hyper-analyze these kind of things even if the musician doesn't intend it to sound complicated. It's like that funny online picture where the author say, oh, the curtains were blue, and then the teacher say, oh, the curtains were blue because they were sad, whatever. Personally, I find like over-analyzing things kind of gives me tools for composition and music making. Bottom line, it may just very well be, oh my god, I can't freaking talk!